Shalom. Call Allah Yahweh Shem Al Shai by Shemra Kakadash. Double honors to the apostles, that great millstone that rule and teach well, that we learn this truth from. To the Akim on the four corners of this earth, teaching this truth, risking their lives each and every day on the highways and the byways, waking up the elect in the 1/3, and to the brothers and sisters tuning in for edification. Come with another lesson, and this is Dawadah. Check your foundation, because this is something that I'm going to speak on. Having a strong foundation, that's a key component, right now. And without that strong foundation, your house will fall down. When that storm comes, and it's going to come, you know what I'm saying? And when you know a storm is coming, what you do? You prepare for it, yourself for that storm. That's what a wise man would do. You know what I'm saying? But if you know, in this world, these people is not preparing. These people are just worrying about, going to their next wedding, or you know what I'm saying, or where's the cookout at, the party at, or basically just feeding their flesh. Because this is what Babylon, promotes. And if your faith is shaky, you know what I'm saying, the house is gonna fall down. And this is what Babylon the Great, aka America, teaches. It doesn't teach nothing that has anything to do with a strong foundation. And that's how this place is gonna go. It's gonna go down. It's gonna go down, you know what I'm saying, easily, because it's the system is set up with a weak foundation, you know what I'm saying? So I want to go to Luke chapter 6 and start at verse 46. And why call ye me Lord, Lord, and do not the things which I say? Yeah. These scriptures are pretty much, our life each and every day. You know what I'm saying? And most of these people don't know what's going to hit them. You know what I'm saying? The only thing these people care about is the cares of this world. And the cares of this world can get you in trouble. And you see that these things are nothing. You see these are nothing. Thinking what is important, and that will be your foundation. Your foundation is important. Nothing else is in this world is important, because it's all gonna fade away. And read from the top again. In Luke chapter 6, verse 46, and why call ye me Lord, Lord, and do not the things which I say? Yeah, because like I say again, when that storm comes, people don't even know when it's going to come. You know what I'm saying? Because they're so wrapped up in a lot of these things that's going on in this world. They're especially, on social media, trying to be in this rat race, trying to make a dollar. Right now, it's probably a penny, because the money is devalued. You know what I'm saying? But these people don't care. You know what I'm saying? They're putting their trust in the wrong thing, and that's why their foundation is shaky. But what we're trusting in is we're putting our trust in Yahweh Shem Al Shai, so our foundation will be solid like a rock. You know what I'm saying? And that's how we see things. Because the people in this world, they see things in a carnal aspect, but we see things in a spiritual aspect. And that's really important, you know what I'm saying? putting Yahweh Bashim Yahushai first. You know, not to put, you know, this place first or put man first, because nothing is gonna be worthwhile. You know what I'm saying? It's not the be all be. You know, this place is gonna be destroyed. You know, verse 47. And whosoever come to me and hear, saying, and do them, I will show you to whom he is like. You know what I'm saying? So it's up to us, you know, what Yahweh Shem say do. You know, and we have to lead by, you know, actions. You know what I'm saying? And like this scripture says, whoever come to me and hear my sayings and do them, I will show you to whom he is like. You know what I'm saying? And like James 1 verse 22 say, and I'll get that. You know what I'm saying? Because we just can't lead by lip service. You have to lead by action. And you have to, you know, put that to the forefront, you know, because, you know, we fear Yahweh Shem Yahushai. We don't fear man. We don't care about the cares of this world, because our foundation, we want it to be solid. You know what I'm saying? This is James chapter 1, verse 22. But be ye doers of the word, and not hearers only, deceiving yourself, your own selves. Let me read that back again. James chapter 1, verse 22. But be ye doers of the word, and not hearers only, deceiving your own selves. Yeah. You know. And this is speaking first and foremost. I'm speaking about myself. You know what I'm saying? I have to check my foundation and make sure I'm doing what is right, you know. Because if not putting Yahweh Shem Yahushai first, then my foundation gonna be shaky. You know what I'm saying? And that's also including especially when we feeding the sheep. You know what I'm saying? You definitely want your foundation right. And that's also, you know, with the Akim, you know, taking heed as well, you know. And you have to have faith, you know what I'm saying, reading these scriptures. And you have to believe, you know, because what is coming, you know, all our faith is going to be tested, you know what I'm saying? And that's without a doubt, you know what I'm saying? The hour of temptation is knocking, you know, at the door, you know. So you got to check your foundation and get that right, you know what I'm saying? So you don't be overthrown, you know, by the cares of this world. Because if you get wrapped up what's going on in this world, you can lose, you can take your eye off the prize, you know what I'm saying? And that's one thing that these people do in this world. They only care about what's going on in this world and to feed their flesh, you know what I'm saying? You know? And it says, you know, Luke chapter 6, verse 47, you read that again. Whosoever come to me, yeah, like I said, whoever so come to me, yeah, we heard about this truth, and you know what I'm saying, we took action fast, you know, and we wanted to grow, you know what I'm saying? And this is the only thing that we got, man, you know what I'm saying? You know, and we fell in love with this truth, you know, like Sirach, you know, chapter 5 say, you know, make no tarrying to return to the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, and put not off from day to day, you know what I'm saying? And let me get that, because I don't want to butcher it. Because, yeah, you know, this is on the, this first on our list, you know what I'm saying? Because this what molds you, this what, you know, keeps your foundation solid, you know, like a rock, you know. When something comes and try to blows it down, you know, that foundation is so strong, you know, the wind can't do anything, you know what I'm saying? Like a tornado come through, you know, can't do anything because, you know, your spirit won't get, you know, weary, you know what I'm saying? Because Yahweh Shem Yahushai touch your spirit and to guide you through those things, to help you out, you know what I'm saying? Let me read that from the top again. Sirach chapter 5, verse 7. Make no tarrying to turn to the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai, and put not off from day to day. For suddenly should the wrath of the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai come forth, and in thy security thou shalt be destroyed, and perish in the day of vengeance. Yeah, because most of the people in this world, they don't know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? But the brothers, you know what I'm saying, know what's going on. And you know how our people is. They'll say, well, I'll get to it next week. You know what I'm saying? Or hit me up next week and we'll sit down and get together. Oh, brother, the NFL season's starting, so I think I'm gonna have to put that on the back burner. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But they fail to realize, you know what I'm saying? Like it says, make no tarrying to turn to the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai. Don't put off, don't put off day to day. You know what I'm saying? Because this truth is important. You know what I'm saying? And if you receive this and you understand it, you better get on it right away, because the Occam's are not going to be on the four corners of the earth. You know what I'm saying? The brothers, it's not going to be out there on the highways and the byways too much longer. So if the Yahweh Shema Shai woke you up to this truth and touch your spirit, you better jump on it right away. You know what I'm saying? Because see, you fail to realize that that destruction is coming real soon. You know what I'm saying? And it says, hear my sayings and do them. Yeah. And when you come into this truth, this is one thing you are going to do. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna first need to listen. Because there's order in this thing. You know what I'm saying? In this truth. It's order. By hearing this word, you do what you're supposed to do. Through the power of Yahweh Shema Shai. You know what I'm saying? Plus, it's beautiful. You know what I'm saying? That Yahweh Shema Shai woke you up. Put it on your spirit. To want to learn and grow. You know what I'm saying? And that's speaking of me. Like I say again, first and foremost. You know what I'm saying? And this truth. You know what I'm saying? Because this truth, it will humble you. You know what I'm saying? It makes you become a man. You know what I'm saying? You grow up fast. And you realize the things that are important. You know what I'm saying? Because without Yahweh Shema Shai, your foundation is not going to be solid. That's why I say you got to check your foundation. It's like, if you go to the doctor and you get an x-ray, and the doctor say, or before, the doctor asks you the question, he'll say, so are you have any injuries or anything? And, of course, you tell the doctor, no. But then he do an x-ray on you, and he come back and let you know what I'm saying? No, you got a couple, something is wrong, with your temple, it's a problem, you know what I'm saying? You got a couple injuries, So this is how this truth is, you know what I'm saying? Yahweh Shai is a physician, and he cleans you up, you know what I'm saying? He operates on that spirit, you know what I'm saying? It builds you up. It builds your faith up. So your foundation could be, strong, and will be strong. But they're only going to be strong if you put Yahweh Shema Shai first in your life. So that's why I say you have to stay humble in this truth. You have to stay humble, and you have to humble down. Because I know, I'm older man in this truth. And just because I'm older than, a younger brother, that don't mean I know more than him. You know what I'm saying? So what's important to me is I have to listen, you know what I'm saying? And take heed, Because it's the spirit of Yahweh Shema Shai speaking through him to let me know, what I need to do. You know what I'm saying? And the main reason why we do this work is because we fear Yahweh Shema Shai. You know what I'm saying? And one of the most important things is we're looking for salvation, you know what I'm saying? We're looking to be saved, you know? We're looking to be saved through the power of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. And nothing else in this world matters, you know what I'm saying? You know, we're trying to be saved out of this place, you know? This place is nothing but, you know, hell to us, you know? You know? And what little money that you make on your job or whatever you do, you know what I'm saying? You're not getting anywhere, you know? It's not, you're not getting anywhere, you know what I'm saying? You know, one minute you could be up, one minute you could be down. You know, you can have all the money you want and you can think your foundation is strong. But it can come crumbling down. That's why I say the most important thing is putting your trust in Yahweh Shem Yahushai. And then that's when you know your foundation will be strong. But you have to seek him, you know what I'm saying? Seek him more than anything. You know? And that's what the brothers doing now, you know? Since they've been on the highways and the byways, you know what I'm saying? Doing videos, the Most High will show you to whom he is like, you know what I'm saying? And this is whom we like through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. You know what I'm saying? Not, you know, being in this rat race, trying to make it on this side, you know, because none of that doesn't matter, you know what I'm saying? So let me go back to Luke chapter 6, verse 48. He is like a man which built a house and dig deep. Yeah. He is like a man which built a house and dig deep. Yeah. And this guy pretty much, man, he was making sure he doing things right, you know what I'm saying? He was not playing, you know? You know? And laid the foundation on a rock. And when the flood arose, and that rock is Yahushua, the streams beat vehemently upon the house, it could not shake it, for it was found upon a rock. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? This guy had plenty wisdom. You know what I'm saying? He was no dummy. You know. He laid the foundation on a rock. Yeah, you see, he was not playing. Like I say again, you could not catch him slipping. You know. Because he was making sure he was digging real deep, you know what I'm saying? So that foundation can be real strong, you know? It's like, you know, when you playing sports, you know, like if you was a hooper, you know what I'm saying? Because I was a hooper. It's pretty much when they tell you, you know, you got to dig deep, you know what I'm saying? When you come into, you know, the last quarters, or even if you had to go in overtime, you know, your coach, you know, come to you and tell you, hey, man, it's time to step that game up, you know what I'm saying? You got to dig a little deep. You gotta put, you know, you gotta help us out, you know what I'm saying? Because we need you, you know what I'm saying? You the go-to guy, you know? And that's, you know, how does you know, this guy was doing, you know, he looked at it, you know? He looked at his situation and said, hey, this foundation is important, so I have to make sure I do this right. So I got to dig real deep, you know? And what he did, and laid his foundation on the rock when the flood arose, you know what I'm saying? Like I say again, and that rock is Yahushua, you know? And the screen beat vehemently up on that house, you know? And let me look up that word, vehemently. And up on that house, and could not shake it, for it was found upon a rock. Yeah. I'm looking at the blue letter. I got it pulled up right now. It's G4366, and I'm gonna read the outline biblical usage. To break against, break by dashing against. And the definitions for Strong's definition is to tear towards, burst upon, as tempest or flood beat vehemently against upon. Yeah, so you see, his trust was in Yahweh Shem Yahushai, and he dig real deep, you know what I'm saying? Because he was getting his foundation to be uprooted strong, and it can only be uprooted strong through Yahweh Shem Yahushai. So he knew, you know what I'm saying, like I said here, to tear towards, to burst upon, as tempest or flood, to beat vehemently against. So no matter what it was beaten against, vehemently against, it still couldn't do no damage because his foundation was strong. And that's where we see things now, you know what I'm saying? We don't put our trust in this world or any of these religions that is pushed on our people. We put our trust in Yahweh Shem Yahushai, in this truth, you know what I'm saying, in 1611 Bible, you know what I'm saying, you know, like the scriptures say, Hebrews 10:7, come in the volume of the book. So that's where we put our trust in, you know what I'm saying, Revelations 4:1, bless he that read, you know what I'm saying. So that's where we put our trust in. We put our trust in Yahweh Shem Yahushai, you know. And this is what the elect will do, you know. They will follow after Yahushua, who is that rock. So when that flood come, we will be prepared because the Most High put the Spirit on us to deal with this storm, you know, and deal with what's coming, you know, because what's coming, these people don't know what's coming, you know what I'm saying? And that's why I say we have a strong foundation by watching apostles, you know what I'm saying, praying every day, doing videos, reading every day, you know, going into the Hebrew, you know. This is how we establish this strong foundation. So we know that we're checking our foundation every day. We're checking ourselves. We're making sure, you know what I'm saying, things are going the way it's supposed to go. And it can only go where it's supposed to go through Yahweh Shem Yahushai. You know? And we have to continue to push no matter what, you know? Even when it gets difficult for you, you know what I'm saying? Through hard times, you know what I'm saying? Like if you lose your job, or, you know what I'm saying, if your wife leaves you, or your car break down, or you just get sick real bad, you know what I'm saying? Or you're going through, you know, a lot of difficult situations with your body, you know, your body is breaking down, you know what I'm saying? Or you just catching hell just, you know, regardless. Whatever you do, you just catching hell. Hey, we still got to keep pushing, you know what I'm saying? We have to go through that straight gate. And that's very important, you know? And let me go back to Luke chapter 6, verse 49. But he that hear and do not is like a man that without a foundation built an house upon the earth, against which the stream did beat vehemently, and immediately it fell, and the ruin of that house was great. You know what I'm saying? So these will be the guys pretty much, you know, take the time off, you know what I'm saying, in the wintertime. When the wintertime comes, you don't see them no more. You know what I'm saying? Only time they come back out is during the springtime, you know what I'm saying? Those are the ones that built they had a weak foundation, you know, constantly changing up the doctrine so they don't hurt no one's feelings, you know, worrying about selling merchandise to make money, not praying, not fasting, and pretty much the list goes on, you know what I'm saying? That's when you know your foundation is weak. So that's why I say you got to check your foundation on a daily basis, you know. Just not once a week. You got to check your foundation every day to make sure that, you know, things is going the way Yahweh Shem Shai wanted it to go, you know. And let me go to, I'm going to got a couple more scriptures, and I'm going to close out. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 40, verse 31. I'm slacking. But they that wait upon the Lord, Yahweh Shem Shai, shall renew their strength, and they shall mount up with wings as eagles, and they shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. Yeah. And this is what we're doing, you know, in the meantime, waiting on the Lord, Yahweh Shem Shai. So when the storm renew our strength, he will prepare us, you know what I'm saying, for those tough times, you know what I'm saying, because the storm is coming, you know what I'm saying. So we won't, you know, be weary, you know, we'll be able to walk up strong, and we will not faint, you know what I'm saying, you know, because our spirits will be built up, our faith will be built up, you know, and that's all through the power of Yahweh Shem Shai, you know, because the Spirit of the Lord Yahweh Shem Shai will be on us. So when the storm comes, we will deal with whatever situation we have to deal with, you know, and that's what's important, you know. Let me go to Colossians chapter 2 and 6, and I'll close out. As ye have therefore received a Mashiach Yahweh Shai, the Lord, so walk ye in him. Yeah. Because the Spirit of the Lord will be on us, you know what I'm saying? You know, no matter what. But we have to put our trust in Yahweh Shem Shai so we can walk ye in him. You know what I'm saying? Because he is our foundation. And without him, our foundation will be weak. So that's why I said you got to check your foundation. You know what I'm saying? And it has to be checked through Yahweh Shem Shai, making sure that you putting your trust in him and glorifying, you know, him, you know, glorifying Yahweh Shem Shai and no one else. You know what I'm saying? Because without Yahweh Shem Shai, your foundation is going to be weak. It's going to be overthrown, like in Luke chapter 6, verse 49. You know what I'm saying? You know, the foundation was weak, you know, because they didn't keep their eyes on Yahweh Shem Shai. So that's why I say you got to check your foundation. You know what I'm saying? And now is the time to do it, because what's coming, it's not going to be nice. So check your foundation and get yourself together right now. So I want to end on that. Shalom. Call all y'all by Shem Shai by Shem Kakadash. Double honors to the apostles at Great Millstone that rule and teach well. To the Akim on the four corners of the earth, teaching the truth, risking their lives each and every day on the highways and the byways. And to the brothers and sisters tuning in for edification. Hope this was edifying. This is your brother Dawada. Shalom.